we are going to talk about the legislative branch. And more specifically, we're going to talk about the House of Representatives, the legislative branch. So, as you know, there are three branches of government. There is the legislative, executive, and judicial. In the legislative branch, we have Congress, and Congress is made up of two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives is done by population, and in the Senate, all states have 2 senators. So, the role of the House of Representatives. The legislative branch makes the laws of the United States, controls all the money, and has the power to declare war. Legislate, to make laws. Remember, legislative starts with L, laws start with L.
We're elected to stop these rules and regulations. And so I am proud to consistently have supported the REINS Act because it reasserts the powers of this body and this Congress under Article 1 of the Constitution, which provides very simply as follows. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. What does this mean? The most important word in Article 1 of the Constitution is that first substantive word, all, implying that none of the legislative power should be in any other branch of the federal government, and it certainly shouldn't be exercised by the executive branch. This, of course, we know as the non-delegation doctrine.
All right, so he is explaining why we have a legislative branch. The House of Representatives, there are 435 total members of the House. It's based on the census taken every 10 years. Requirements for being a House of Representatives member. You must be at least 25 years old. You must have been a U.S. citizen for 7 years. So yes, that means you do not have to be born in the United States to be a member of Congress. You have to become a citizen, and then 7 years later, you can run for Congress. You must live in the state you represent, but you don't have to live in the district. Running for office, so their terms are every 2 years. So every 2 years, they're running for re-election. All right, term limits are unlimited. So they're in for 2 years, but they can keep running for re-election over and over and over and over again. So in May 1995, the US Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that states cannot impose term limits upon their federal representatives or senators. So if the state, let's say of Virginia, comes along and says, I only want our congressmen to be able to run for re-election 4 times. And I only want our senators to run for re-election 2 times. They can't. They can't. So the Supreme Court ruled that they can't. They can keep running for re-election as many times as they want. But that would be every 2 years. All right, here are some jobs in the House of Representatives. We have Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House is the head of the House of Representatives and the third in line to the presidency. So if the president dies or can no longer perform the duties of president, the vice president takes over. If both of them die or can't do it anymore, then the Speaker of the House does it. Party whips. A whip is an official of a political party whose task it is to ensure party discipline in the legislature. This means ensuring that members of the party vote according to the party platform. So the Republican whip is going to go around to the other members of Congress and say, we all need to vote this way on this bill. And the party whip of the Democratic Party would do the same thing. So they're trying to keep the members of their party voting the way that they want them to. All right, so we've got the majority leader, just like it sounds. So the majority in the House of Representatives, whether that's Republicans or Democrats, is going to be the majority leader. Majority leader is second in command to the Speaker of the House, and the majority leader schedules legislation to be considered on the House floor. The minority leader, so that is going to be whoever is minority in the House of Representatives, whether that's the Democrats or Republicans. The minority leader serves as the floor leader of the loyal opposition and the minority counterpart to the Speaker of the House. Here are some other jobs you can have in the House of Representatives. You can be the House Sergeant at Arms. It is like it sounds. The Sergeant at Arms is the Chief Law Enforcement and Protocol Officer. The Clerk of the House, just like this sounds. The Clerk is the Chief Legislative Officer of the U.S. House of Representatives. The Chief Administrative Officer. The office was created to provide the basic facilities and services to support member offices and committees. And we have the House Chaplain, also like it sounds. The chaplain performs duties of symbolic and pastoral duties in the House. So, the religious leader. Who else is in the House of Representatives besides congressmen? So we have a delegate. So first I'll read it, then I'll explain. A non-voting representative from Samoa, the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, or D.C. So the U.S. not only has 50 states, we have D.C., which is not a state, just its own city. And then we have US territories. So you can have a delegate, but important, non-voting. So they can't vote in Congress, so they have no say. So of course, since they can't vote, the other congressmen are not going to consult them or care as much about their opinions. So another thing besides a delegate, pretty similar, but the resident commissioner. So from Puerto Rico, this is very specifically from Puerto Rico. If you didn't know, Puerto Rico is a US territory. A lot of people don't know that since they speak Spanish. So she can serve, or he, if it's a he, can serve a 4-year term. So that's different than the other members of the House of Representatives and delegates who only serve 2. So she can serve, or he, for 4 years. So just like the delegate, they do not participate in votes, but they do serve on committees. So the House and the Senate can be broken up into smaller committees. So the resident commissioner can serve on committees, but cannot vote when on the House floor. Committees. So the House committees consider bills and issues and oversee agencies, programs, and activities within their jurisdictions. And they have many, many hearings. In summary, for the House of Representatives, there are 435 total members, and that never changes. What does change might be how many each state gets, but never changes. You have to be 25 years old to run in the House of Representatives. You have to be a US citizen for 7 years. Again, you don't have to be born here. The Speaker of the House is third in line to the presidency. You serve 2-year terms. So once you get elected, you're there for 2 years. but terms are unlimited. So you can keep running over and over and over again every 2 years. You have to live in the state you represent, but you do not have to live in the district. I hope you learned a lot today about the House of Representatives.